Man, I have a lot to say. I don't know if you want me to get into it now. If that's what
Jump
you
on
want to
it.
say.
I mean, we're here.
All right. So it looks like Caleb Williams has regressed. Young quarterbacks, they usually start getting confident. They start to play better.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just they were playing trash teams. I don't know. I thought the play calling was better. I had mentioned it on the show. Shane Waldron, first few weeks, didn't look like he had a clue, but then it looked like he figured it out. And now, last couple of weeks, it looks like no one has a clue. But in Caleb Williams' defense, 16 different players from the Cardinals put pressure on him. There's
Mm.
only 11 on defense. So that means dudes off the bench were coming in
They were
onto the
doing that.
field and
That's a
putting
house
pressure on
party.
him. Everybody was eating for the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. That's the most individuals putting pressure on a quarterback in the game since 2018. He was pressured 46% of the time of his dropbacks. So every other time he's dropping back, he's getting pressured. They got to him 6 times. He was sacked 6 times. Um, I don't know if you watched the game, you saw any of the highlights, but
I didn't
the
see any of
game
the
was
highlights.
in reach. 14-9. There was, I think, 20 seconds left. And the Bears let the running back go for a 52-yard run, uh, push the lead out, and there was 4 seconds left on the clock. So that gives you an idea of how much time was left. It was like a third and 14. They just wanted to get better, better field goal range, and they let them go all the way to the house. You talk about embarrassing. Everyone says the Bears
Because
have
they
a
did so
really
much more
good
catching.
defense. No, they didn't yesterday. They had Connor looking like Derrick Henry. He was getting contact, breaking tackles, dragging runners. I was like, "Are they sure? Are they sure that's not Derrick Henry?" He rushed for over 100 some yards. Cardinals had over 200 yards rushing. Tackling was poor. I mean, that's why I say I think the wheels are off because the effort wasn't there. In addition to the lack of coaching.
We had a bit of technical difficulty while we were doing our discussion of all the things that had happened. We were talking about the Chicago Bears and their road trip to Arizona, where they lost to the Arizona Cardinals. And before we went off, or before I went off the air, we were also talking about how Brian said the wheels were wobbling on the Chicago Bears team because they started off better. They looked good. And it looked like Caleb Williams was coming around. And then all of a sudden, things started not looking good. Things started looking a little wobbly. And it seems like they went to Arizona, a road game, and things did fall apart. Bias was talking about how Caleb Williams was looking, how the team was looking, how they were pretty much, I think, setting records in terms of the players coming after the quarterback and the pressure that was received. Take it from there.
Yeah, so to reiterate, 16 different defensive players for the Cardinals apply pressure to Caleb Williams. And there's only 11 on defense. So that means dudes off the bench were coming in and applying pressure. Five more guys off the bench. Um, and that's the most since 2018. He was pressured 46% of his dropbacks. So that's pretty much half the time. They got to him 6 times for sacks. And to top it all off, he was left in the game late when they're down 20 points, 2 minutes to go. Dumbass coach wants to run 2 minute offense, get some work in, and Caleb Williams goes down. I couldn't tell if it was his knee or his ankle, and he limped off the field. So there you go, coach. Good job.
Well, you were talking about how Caleb Williams looked. You said he might have regressed. Did he hang on to the ball too much, or what might have been the reason? Did he hang on to the ball too long, and that's how they had gotten to him, or just the offensive line simply didn't do their job?
I'm just speaking to the overall product. For like 3 weeks, he had a couple touchdown passes here. I mean, in each game they put up over 30 points. And yes, the opponents were not better teams in the league, but neither is the Arizona Cardinals. But
Yeah, that's true.
last week last week against the Redskins, the offense was pathetic, and he turned it on late. Like I mentioned, it looked like he flipped the switch. He moved them down the field. They got the scores they needed. Defense just blew it. This week, they got down to the red zone, and they could only manage 3 field goals all day. And of course, I mentioned Shane Waldron. Play calling has something to do with it, but at some point, he's got to make better throws. Some guys were open and throws were off, so it's a whole ball of wax for the offense. Play calling, blocking, inaccurate passes at the wrong time. What I don't really understand, why can't Shea Waldron scheme his wide receivers open? Because if you know you guys can't protect for 3, 4, or 5 seconds, call plays where you guys get open so Caleb Williams can get rid of the ball. But
Well,
they're
Swift
also
wasn't doing that well on the ground either, so I don't think they had a running game to take the
20,
pressure off the quarterback getting sacked and having
23
people.
attempts, 23 attempts for 69 yards.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I
But
didn't think
there's
it was
other
going to be
times
that.
too. I think Williams probably feels pressure. So he's looking to make the splash play where he doesn't take the check downs. Sometimes you just got to take the check down, get it from 3rd and 8 to 3rd and 2, instead of overthrowing a guy or because you don't want to throw an interception, you're too conscious of the defenders. You can't really thread the needle. And so you go from 2nd and 8 to 3rd and 8 because you throw an incomplete pass. Sometimes you got to take the check down.
But as a young quarterback, they typically do take the check down because they don't get enough time to read the defense unless he just believes so much in his arm that he just throws it out there and jeopardizes the possession. But I didn't watch the game, but you did mention last week the Bears played differently on the road. They can't win on the road. This is a road game, even against the Cardinals, who aren't that good.
Well, I
I
said
think it
Eberflus can't
made
win on the road.
they
His
what?
record, Eberflus, his record is 3-18 on the road.
People flews, and now he just happens to be the coach of the Chicago Bears, and along with his bad luck, seems to come their bad luck, and they can't get a win on the road.
Even Keenan Allen dropped a pass that was right in his hands yesterday. So there's
It
a
was
lot
just
of
one of those
different
things.
factors, and I don't know if it's carryover from the terrible loss from last week. There's something going on, and like I mentioned, the wheels are wobbling, and I think they're off now. They got the Patriots, then after that, Packers twice, Lions twice, Vikings twice. They might
Whew.
go they might go 0-6 in those games, man.